Good morning to all of you once again. And I have some thoughts to share with you, obviously from my balcony. And it's about the boast of God. I can't boast. You can't boast. But if we can boast, if I can boast and you can boast, our boast is found in the boast of God. And I think Paul said it that flesh cannot boast, and neither can we boast in what the flesh can do. Neither can we boast in what we can perform. And we can't boast in our deeds. We can't boast in our actions. We can't boast in our utterances if that boast is not found in God. And sometimes God knows what kind you are. And because He knows what kind you are, He definitely will put you on display in this world. It's like I've invented a light bulb. And the best way to display the light bulb is to showcase it in darkness, so that when the darkness cannot comprehend my light bulb, I can boast in what I have created. And the same thing applies to God. He has created you in the light of life. And that light is the light of men, which means that He has placed you in a world filled with darkness, so that you can be the light of the world. And yet all glory goes to Him, because He is boasting of what kind you are. And anybody who sees you, he can say, this is my kind. So sometimes the enemy comes to test what kind you are. But God is not the one testing what kind you are. God will just allow the enemy to test you. And when the enemy finish testing you, and God finish also displaying you and bringing forth His boast in you, it pleases God. It pleases God. And so the enemy is trying everything possible to tempt you from the inside. But he uses trials from the outside. So he brings suffering. He comes to try your faith. He comes to test your faith to see what kind it is. But because God knows what kind of faith you possess, and the faith you possess is His faith, He is not afraid to put that faith on display through you. Because at the end of the day, He's going to boast and say that that faith was of His. That faith was His kind, and you are of the God kind. So God is happy to boast. I remember the story of Job. And what happened to Job? God said, have you seen my servant Job? He eschews evil. He's this, he's that. That's God boasting about what kind Job was. So when the enemy said, okay, but you put this edge around him, okay, no problem. Do whatever you want to do, but don't touch what is mine. And then what was God's was his soul. The mind of Job belonged to God. So God was putting the soul of Job, the mind, the will, the emotions of Job on display. And because He wanted to boast about what kind Job was. And so when Job was tested by the enemy, took all his properties, took all his successes, took all his wealth, took all his health, the man really suffered. His children died, all of them. His wife turned against him. And the enemy intentionally left the wife because men are mostly influenced by their wives. So, and the greatest influence sometimes you can have as a married man is your wife. And what was the wife saying? Why wouldn't you curse God and die? And yet Job stood still. All his friends turned against him. He was sick. He was poor. He was broke. He was broken. And yet he knew that his Redeemer liveth. He knew that everything he has and whoever he is coming from God. His faith was tested from every angle. His faith was tried with fire. And at the end of the fire, we saw that his faith was authentic. His faith was genuine faith. So let me ask you, if God is putting you on display, because he says what? I think it was Paul who said it, that we are the workmanship of God, created in Christ. If God has created you, and I think that the occupation of God is to create you in Christ. When God wakes up in the morning, like I wake up in the morning, I do my things, do this, as a business development manager. When God wakes up, his occupation is to give forth life, is to create people through his word into Christ, who is life. Because the life can only be found in the Son. And it didn't end there. It says we are his workmanship, which means we are his masterpiece. And it says we have been put on display in this age and the ages to come. So if the world is looking for life, and I'm talking about authentic life, not the life we see, not the light we see in this world, not the truth we find in this world, not the peace we find in this world. We are talking about the eternal immortality of the Godhead manifesting in time, space, and matter through one man, Jesus, the God-man. So you're on display. If your faith is put on display for the enemy to try, would God have you boast? Or you are putting your own self-manufactured faith on display? And when it fails, then it's like, well, God was not supportive enough. Then I must try harder. I must fast harder so that my faith can increase. I must fast harder so that my spirit can be built. If you're of the God kind, you're of the God kind, brother. Sister, if you're of the God kind, you're of the God kind. You don't need to prove your God kindedness, or what should I say it? You don't need to prove it through works, through deeds. It's like trying to turn stones into bread to prove your sonship. No. If God says you are a son, if God says his faith dwells in you, his peace, his hope, his love dwells in you, then you are of the God kind. Because the length and breadth, the height of whatever it is found in you. The love of God is found in you. The faith of God dwells in your heart. And the hope that maketh not ashamed is found in you. So no matter the suffering you're going through, when the enemy tests you from the outside, trying to tempt you from the inside, and the temptation of the enemy is always trying to tempt you to know who you are. Your identity has been put on display by God so that God can boast that this person is mine because I find myself in him. Do you get what I'm saying? In the sense that God is putting our lives on display in this world. And he wants to boast because the boast of God, God boasts of his wondrous works. And when he boasts of his wondrous works, it becomes the gospel to those who are trying in their own ability. When God boasts in what he has done, and you look at what you can do, you have no choice than to relegate everything to what God can do, which means that the grace of God abounds much more than the wisdom trying to tell you that you can do it. Guys, so the suffering we suffer, the persecutions we go through, the trials we go through, we know that nothing can separate us from his love. No matter what happens to you, it could be a loss of a job, it could be marital problems, it could be your children going wayward, it could be financial distress. It could be health issues. You could be sick. It could be a cancer diagnosis. It could be any form of diagnosis that is critical and has destabilized your life in one way or the other. I want you to know that even in these times, in this moment that you're broke, in this moment that you're going through difficulties, I want you to know that God still has placed you on display. And God is still boasting of what kind you are. So you must know what kind you are. Your identity is a son. Your identity is immortality. And when that identity is tried, when that identity is put on the test, the fiery eyes of God looks at it and knows what kind you are. When the enemy also comes and tries to take everything away, what will remain is a mind wired with God, with an emotion expressed by God, with a will adequately equipped by God. So your mind, your will, your emotions, your conscience, your intuitions, your fellowship can only be born on the foundation of who God is. So if the foundation of your faith is not Christ, it crumbles. Because it's like building a house on sand. It's when the wind comes and blows it, we will know what kind of house it is. And when the wolves come and now they want to blow your house and your house is built on a rock, no matter the storms, no matter the fights, no matter what it is, you are of the God kind. You are the species after the order of God. You are birthed from the order of immortality. Your priesthood is after the order of Melchizedek. And so that boast we have can only be found in God boasting about what kind you are. So my brother, my sister, this morning I'm encouraging you. Just like the morning dew is falling on the river Pra, and just like the morning dew is falling on some of the grasses I find around, may that grace of God fall upon you. And I'm encouraging you that your suffering does not mean that God has abandoned you. Your suffering simply means that you belong to God and you are the God kind. And the enemy is trying so hard to test you. And just like Job, God will pass the test because God in you is what enables you, gives you the ability, gives you the capability, gives you the adequacy to do what? To pass the test. And when you pass the test, all glory goes to the one who puts you on display. If a painter paints a canvas on a canvas and now goes to a museum and displays it, and people come and behold the glory of the of the of the art, does the glory goes to the artist? Most definitely, it is the artist that takes the glory. But does the art share in that glory? Yes. So we share in the glory of God because God has glorified us. So I don't do anything to take the glory. God has done everything, so he takes the glory. But God is so loving that he shares that glory with all of us. And that is why he has glorified all of us. And that's why Job was glorified and was restored, because when the Redeemer comes, he comes to redeem you, not to the state in which you were. He comes to redeem you even beyond, to the overflowing. And that is why when Christ came to redeem us, he redeemed us into eternity. God did not come to restore the old Adam into the fullness of the old Adam. God came and crucified the old Adam and raised the old Adam in himself in the fullness of his life. And nobody can usurp the very height at which God can go. There's nobody who goes beyond God. And that's why even David himself said, that even if I make my bed in hell, thou art there. Even if I climb the highest mountain, oh God, thou art there. So there's no situation that God is not with you. God is always with you. In your suffering, you must see God in your suffering. You must see Christ in your suffering. In your pain, he is there. In your shame, he is there. Because he has equipped you with something that overcomes all of them. And that's why he said, my peace I live with you. There's tribulation in the world, but my peace I live with you. And that peace comes from his word telling you that you are covered. You are covered. And I want you to walk in that reality. I want you to know that God delights in boasting in who he has created. And in you, he has created in himself. And now in that new creation, let God enjoy his boast. I'll leave you with that and chew on it. And I know that it's a fine day. May your day be better than mine. And may you continue to walk in the reality of your immortality. And may you continue to display your sonship, because you are a son, not a servant. And God is a father, not a master. And a father who truly loves you. Shalom.